In this video, I'm going to show you how my client Manisha was able to sell a trucking company on a $42,000 accounting cleanup project, and she also closed this client at $5,500 a month for ongoing monthly accounting services. So in the first part of this video, you're going to see how we helped Manisha build out her service packages, and we went over the pricing with her and thought about all the pain points the client had and what solutions we could offer. And then the second part of the video is going to be after Manisha had the call with the client where she went over the proposal. She's going to walk us through how that call went and what the client said, and ultimately how she was able to close the deal. So let's dive right into it.
But if you don't mind just taking a look at my little pricing structure here for a trucking and janitorial company, I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right, here we go. So this is a trucking and janitorial company. Their sales are somewhere between 3 and 5 million a year. And he doesn't really, I don't know the exact amount because the books are in really bad shape. So I just took the middle point at 4 million. Let's just say it's 4 million. And I'm trying to figure out the essentials, like, the basic, the middle, and the advanced packages. And these are their wants. They have 13 drivers. They want me to pay weekly, run payroll every 2 weeks, trucking 3 employees, janitorial company 8 employees. He wanted me to do the taxes, but I don't offer taxes. So I said I could partner with a CPA who does taxes and just handle all the notices with that partner, the CPA partner. He currently meets with his accountant 2 to 3 meetings a week. Only 1 bank account, surprisingly. He would also like cash flow management and strategic advisory. And the current state of the books are, they're pretty messy, not reconciled since 2017. So I figured out the 1% based on revenue right here, which is 40,000 a year. And that comes to that number. And I'm just kind of lost of what these amounts should be based on this. I'm like Shanita, I'm really apprehensive about running payroll, and every time she talks about it, I'm with her on that. So, but I think I'll have to overcome it.
Well, you don't have to overcome it. You can always outsource it. You can use something. This is where I would normally refer to payroll queen, but I think she's mainly fixing things now. So you could outsource it. You could run on Gusto. You could run it. I actually really like Patriot. If I were to like payroll, which I don't, but I actually like Patriot. But you can run them on Gusto.
Yeah, Gusto is like $34 a month plus $4 per employee or something like that.
And it's super easy. Most people are able to set this up themselves. So running payroll, you can even work it into them where they're putting the hours into Gusto. And then,
yeah, they do use T-Sheets, and I will use one of those apps. It's just, every 2 weeks I have to make sure that I'm available for that time slot. I've never had to do something that time sensitive, so that's that concern.
Yeah, but for the first package, I probably wouldn't include payroll in the first package.
Okay.
And since you don't really want to do payroll,
right,
you can always, we'll get you all set up in Gusto, and all you need to do is put your hours in. That's really all they need to do.
Right.
And when they hire a new person, so you can take that off you, and then I would be happy with the. Oh no, I wouldn't be happy with the 1% because they want to talk to you possibly 12 times a month. That's like a whole lot. Yeah. What is there to talk about 3 times a week?
I'm not sure, but that's what he's doing with his current accountant, and that accountant is sick, which is why they're making the change. And I'm not sure what it is, but I think
maybe he's sick because he's got to do 3 meetings a week. That's why he's sick.
I think they just really want a close partner, is what it sounds like, is what I'm getting.
Okay.
Just somebody they're in touch with, because they don't have the know-how in-house to take things on, and they just want that comfort of talking to somebody.
So
that involved with their accountant, why are their books so far behind?
He's been sick for a while, and they didn't know that he's that sick, and so things got really messy and out of hand the last 2 years, and they're finally now making a change.
Jeez.
Yeah, they had a $20,000 tax bill, which turned into $200,000 because he didn't handle something properly.
Okay, so that's $180,000 they've already lost because of this problem. So I like having that anchor there to potentially have in your back pocket.
Okay.
Run payroll every 2 weeks. So we have trucking, 3 employees, janitorial company. I just want to make sure, are these two separate entities?
Actually, they're one right now, but he wants to separate them. So probably starting January, I will separate them.
Interesting. All right, and what does he want to do that for?
He thinks it would be better visibility having things separately, and I'm not sure if that's better for him, for the risk and exposure if he gets sued. somebody in janitorial sues and gets his trucking assets. That's the only thing I could think of.
I mean, are these two separate EINs? And you might have said that already.
They're one EIN.
But he's
Okay.
thinking about splitting up into two entities starting in January potentially.
Yes.
So, I would say, okay, like just this top package right here,
Mhm.
I would only include these, well, especially, maybe 2 meetings a week in the top package. So it's like what you just said there, it's like he wants the reassurance of like having somebody in-house.
Yeah.
So this is basically like, he's expecting like kind of like a full-time CFO.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a
So
full-time
he's
CFO.
going to need to pay something, similar or adequate to that, to get everything that he's currently getting as far as like the meeting times. What I would probably do is like essentials and this is kind of not thinking too deep into it. Like,
Mhm.
we could deep dive into this if you have time, maybe like next Tuesday. I don't know when you're
Yeah.
meeting with a guy, but essentials for me would be like compliance, right?
Right, right.
Just about that only. Maybe there's a quarterly meeting or a monthly meeting.
Okay.
The advanced would be the compliance, plus you said he wants the cash flow management strategic advisory. So that
Right.
would probably be what advanced would look like. And then the premier
Okay.
would be, those things, plus like really increasing the meeting frequency on the top end package, since that's important to him.
Right.
Maybe like in the middle package, you have a monthly meeting. In Premier, I would probably really only offer like a weekly meeting and let him push back on that a little bit.
Okay.
Just because it's a lot and he probably feels like he needs it, but actually doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Now, with a company that's doing 3 to 5 million a year, I think on the bottom end, you got to be at like 3,500 a month. I think in the middle, you got to be around somewhere like 5,500 a month. The top would be probably 8,500 a month, because that's about $100,000 a year.
Right.
And for a company doing $4 million a year, it's
Mhm.
completely reasonable for them to pay $100,000 a year.
Okay.
To have that level of service, because you're not just doing outsourced accounting at that level, like cash flow management, strategic advisory, meeting with this lady or gentleman, that often. There's
Right.
also an element though, and I don't know how you want to structure this, Manisha, because like there's some cleanup that has to be done. I would
Yes.
probably break this up into like separate engagements.
Yeah, they are. Exactly. They will be. That's going to be totally separate. And I'm not even sure what to price that at. I mean, my minimum is $550 a month for just basic maintenance. And I was thinking $550 times the number of months. And maybe a 20% discount on that. I don't know. I have no idea.
All right, so 2017, right? So we're talking about 4 years, 4.5 years.
I think if they want me to go back to just 2020.
Okay. For the cleanup, you can do it a couple of ways. Like,
Mhm.
I listened to a really great, session that Veronica Wasik did at Scaling New Heights,
Yeah.
the diagnostic process. And, she was talking about cleanup fees, and some people discount them a little bit because they're easier. Some
Right.
people, like upcharge cleanups a little bit because they're more time intensive for them, right? So the way that I like to frame it that I've done in the past is like, if this $3,500 a month number is like what kind of, he wants, what's agreed on,
Mhm.
I would probably do like 80% of that. And the way I frame it is like, and the reason that, I can charge you less to get the books cleaned up is I wasn't actively working with you on a monthly
Right.
basis. So
Right.
I wasn't able to give you some of the, the guidance and feedback that I otherwise would, when we're working together month to month. So since you
Right.
didn't get the benefit of that from me, that's how I would probably frame it.
So based on the 3,500 times the number of months, or 550 times the number of months?
I don't. How do you have any sense of like how complicated this is?
The balance sheet is a pretty bad mess, but I think if I have the, like I can just look at what the payroll should be. I'm not going to do it from a bottom down. I'm going to do it from a top down approach of what the balances should be versus go back and look at every single transaction, if that makes sense.
I'd go higher than 550 for a company of this size. I mean,
Okay.
I think we probably need a little more context, but we can get like a range. Like, so 3,500 times 12 is 42,000. if you, based on what you think is fair, like let's just say you do 50%, right? And so
Mhm.
that would be 21,000 for the year, the cleanup of the year, right?
Right.
That's, yeah, it depends on how messed up the books are though, really. You might not
Okay.
want to discount it that much. I'm not sure. It might be, I would let him know, no matter how we go about this, that this is not something that you typically do, but that he is a company that you'd like to serve, he's within your area of expertise and, the kind of company you like serving. So you're looking forward to, the long-term relationship, right? And I would absolutely show him the 3,500
Mhm.
times 12. I would
Okay.
show him that 42,000, and then
Mhm.
I would show the 21,000, just kind of like you
Okay.
have it here, right? So
Right.
just, see that clear difference of this is, and I didn't ask this question. You have any idea of what he has been paying his accountant?
Yeah, like about 800 or 900 a month.
800 or 900 a month? Okay.
Like for the poor, messy books.
Right. So he's been paying, $900 a month for nothing, right? So
Right.
he can afford to pay you more to actually get the service that he desires. Now, the problem, I'm just kind of thinking, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. He might be, well, 900 to 3,500, that's 4 times the price. But you would just have to, ask him, maybe push back a little bit on like, well, okay, yeah, you were paying that, but like, we have this $180,000 tax issue, right?
Right.
So you could pay me X, 3,500 minus 900, you could pay me that 40 months, right? And not
Right.
have, ran into the, it's not going to add up to the mistake that already been made. The cost.
Exactly.
So what is the cost of doing this right? It's like, I'm sorry, sir, but you already know, right? You had the extra $180,000 tax bill. So
Right.
I love that you have that to kind of anchor the value of what you do.
Right. Okay.
That's how
So-
I would approach it. So it might be a little, tough, but I can see the guy pushing back and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never charged this much for cleanup for 1 year, so I'm a little nervous. And if it's for 2 years, going back to 2020, then I'm even more nervous. But this, have you guys charged this much for cleanup for a company of this size, Shanita, or
How much
anybody?
are we talking about charging?
Like 21,000 for a year?
That's nothing, because they're a $4 million a year company, right?
Right. Yeah, they've got 800,000 in the bank, I know, but they're gonna buy land for 300,000 pretty soon.
I don't think that's too much. You
Okay.
said 21,000 per year
For
or?
a year, yeah, 12 months.
And we gotta go 18, 19, 20, 21, we gotta go 4 years.
They might just want to go back to the 2020, like January of 2020 is what I'm thinking. So not all the way back. So I'll just have to like force it and then carry that, whatever that difference is, and figure out how to resolve that error with the tax preparer.
When was the
It's-
last tax return filed?
It was filed, but it's probably not correct. So we'll probably have to amend returns.
But
Wow.
what year was that?
I think 2020.
So if 2020 was the last return file, I would start my pitch for 2021 and
Okay.
go ahead and give them my quote for the full year, since,
Uh-huh.
December is a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
I would give them my price, and then when they get to talking, then I would, and I would, after I name and tell what I want, I would say, so we are starting for 2020, or do you have concerns that we may need to amend those tax returns and stuff?
Right.
So get them to agree on what they're agreeing on, so that way, if you have to go back,
Yeah.
then they're already doing the calculation of 21,000 plus 21,000 plus
Right.
21.
Right.
Now,
So
is that 21,000 what they would have paid if they had been a client all year long?
yeah, they would have paid 3,500. So yeah,
They would have paid 3,500 times
month.
12,
they would have paid 3,500 a month, and here they're paying
1,750.
1,750.
So they need to explicitly understand that as well.
Right.
And that's like a 50%. That's a 50% reduction. I think you can get away with charging them a little bit more than the 21,000.
Okay.
You know what their revenue was in 2020?
Probably, I don't know if the books are right because they're so off. Probably 2 million, but they've grown like crazy, and this accountant couldn't handle their growth.
If you go into the details on the pricing, and
Yeah.
if you bring up the percent, then they may say, hey, my revenue is lower during that time. So what would have been the price for these services with my revenue at that amount? So
Yeah.
think about that as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but like Manisha, 21,000 is not a lot of money. Don't think that would be doing yourself a disservice.
Okay.
Even doing 75% of the 42,000,
Mhm.
I do agree with Coco's point about, like, they might feel like, things weren't as complicated. 75% would have been 31.5.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of the money. The money is no thing. It's a matter of like, what is their,
How much pain do they have? Or,
yeah. What's their awareness of the problem? How motivated are they to fix it?
right,
Do they really understand? Like, do they really want another $180,000 tax surprise?
exactly.
I definitely don't.
Right.
And even if there is the value conversation to where it's like, well, why are you 4 times more expensive than my regular guy, even on the lowest? I was like,
Yeah.
it's you have this clear like kind of value anchor there to use.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So just keep going to this anchor and then the typical cost as a percentage of revenue.
And yeah, I think where you're at, with the 3,500, 5,500, 8,500, that sounds reasonable to me, but use your judgment based on like
Okay.
your knowledge of,
Right.
the books and everything. I'd also ask this gentleman just kind of like, before I even talked about any of this, I would want to know more about like his goals and his plans. What are the problems as he perceives them? Like,
Mhm.
I would want to know more about why does he want to split up this company into 2 entities? He
Okay.
probably has like a good reason in his mind. I would just want to know that for my purposes. I would also want to know why, like, what was he talking with his accountant who wasn't doing any work
Right.
2 to 3 weeks, so 2 to 3 times a week about. There's something there, you know what I mean? Like, is it
Right.
like the insurance thing? Is it peace of mind? Is it like he's so unorganized and like, and I would even say, like, because that's a lot. That's
Yeah.
more like being an employee, and I would just
Yeah.
talk like, I totally understand why you feel like, you might have needed to meet with your previous accountant that often, because things are kind of a mess, right? So you didn't have enough clarity. You didn't have enough peace of mind about what was going on. But when we start working together, it's going to be an entirely different dynamic, right? We're going to, so that information, he's going to have the visibility he needs. He's not going to need to speak with you 2 to 3 times a week to,
Right.
the basics, right?
Right. Okay. But 2 meetings per week are okay if that's what's needed in this package.
That's up to you.
Yeah. Okay.
and What your
Offer
purpose
weekly.
is.
Oh, okay. Offer weekly. Okay. That's right. All right. Okay.
So, Manisha, when are you having your next meeting?
Probably today or tomorrow,
Okay.
and a proposal by early next week at the latest. And I was thinking maybe even tomorrow. So I'm working on it right now.
So I would probably have, is this going to be a phone call or a Zoom meeting?
Probably a Zoom.
All right. You might even have like the basic outlines of this, like an offer to make to him today, because I would probably do it sooner rather than later and
Okay.
let him like get, see the emotional reaction, right? Let him
Okay.
tell you why it's, that's too much or whatever.
Right, right.
Whatever that feedback is, I would embrace it, because then
Okay.
you can use it to find out what's really important to him.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he sounds pretty good. He said he's willing to do, use whatever software I want and just follow my directions, which it sounds too good to be true, but yeah, he sounds like he's going to be a really good client.
all right, awesome. Don't feel like, I know you said, you never quoted anyone $21,000.
Yeah.
And even these prices, like, they might feel a little weird.
Yeah, they do.
Just say them with a straight face. Just,
Okay.
that's what you're worth. You have multiple people on this call who, like, we have a consensus here, right? This is about the value of accounting services. And that's
Okay.
And Manisha, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
When you tell him the price, can you hit your mute button so you can't say anything? To make sure you give yourself, I do that, like so I do all kind of stuff to myself. I literally bite my tongue.
Yeah.
But just say the price and don't say anything.
Okay.
Make it a thing, then it's gonna be a thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And I would start out with, well, for the package that you'd be looking at, we would typically charge $3,500 a month.
Mhm.
However, this is a unique one. Say, well, however, since we are basically working on compliance now, while there is a lot of value in compliance, we need to do what we need to do, but
Right.
we're not having that hands-on approach that we will be having going forward to help you avoid things like the $180,000 tax issue. So
Great.
at $3,500 a month, you would have paid an annual cost of $4,200. But like I said, since we weren't working with you all year, what we're going to do is we're going to knock that price down to $25,000. I just increased it. Catch that. We're going to knock it down to $25,000, and your regular payment will begin on January 1st or whatever that's going to be.
Mhm.
And then we'll keep this offer open for you. It'll be valid through the end of next week. would you like to go ahead and get started today and I can take half the payment now?
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Or you can say, I can go ahead and take half of I can take half of that payment now as a deposit. If you like, would that be credit card or ACH? And yes, I would take the money. And I'm telling you to do this so that you don't have a lot of time to second guess. But a 50% reduction, that's nice, but that's a little bit too generous. And I'm sure that there's more lurking behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I think that price is fair because you're not doing payroll after the fact for the year, right?
No, I'm not doing any payroll for the past.
Yeah. So you can always use that. If ever you're gonna knock a price down that much, you want to explain to the client why you're able to do that. So
Right.
we haven't been working with your payroll. We'll be doing that in the next year prospectively.
Yeah.
And we haven't had any of these meetings where we could have been giving you advice. So we just think that it's fair because we're not able to offer 100% of the value that you would have been getting in real time, that we reflect that in our pricing as well.
Okay.
Do
All
I
right.
want to put it up? No, I would actually ask for the full 25,000. But if you're not used to or comfortable doing that, it's a lot easier to ask for 50%.
Mhm.
So that you can get started and then tell them the rest of the 50%, you'll be coming for that in 2 weeks. Because it's
Okay.
long for them. And you'll be asking for it. It'll be part of your engagement letter and you'll be drafted.
Okay, so I'll do it just an informal meeting, and then if he's gonna go for one of these clearly, then just send him the proposal to sign from there then.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. This was super helpful, and I will do this as we discussed.
Take
Yeah,
care, guys.
let us know how this goes, Manisha. This is exciting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I will. I'll definitely let you know. Thank you.
Yeah, but even if it's a no, that's okay. There's going to be a lot more opportunities in the future. So you're going to win at this either way. You will.
Right. Okay, thanks again. So the meeting went pretty well, and I really contemplated how much I should propose as far as the cleanup fee, and I wanted to be gutsy, like what Shanita suggested at 25K, but I just went with the 21K per year, and that was accepted.
Hey, awesome. Boom.
Well, did
Yeah.
they pay you yet?
They haven't, so I didn't know if I should speak today because I don't have something in writing and don't have payment yet, because I thought this was gonna happen. He has a partner that he has to run it by, and that partner is running around driving and not available. So he has to run it by him and also just figure out what went wrong with the current accountant and why he didn't finish up. But the reason why I was able to get that is because their 2020 P&L shows a $600,000 loss. So I used that as an anchor and a pain point, and urged them to go back to 2020, and so that worked, and they agreed to the middle package of 5,500.
Hey, awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
good job. Congratulations. Even though you didn't go for the extra 4, and
Yeah.
even though they didn't pay yet, the very fact that they say yes, that's a celebration. I'll ring the bell on Thursday when we got the money.
Yeah, thank you, and many thanks to you and Ben for giving me that confidence to go for it. Thank you so much.
You got this.
Yeah,
And I want to stay right there for a second. The fact that you said, did y'all hear what she said? This is like the ultimate value communicator right here. You just told us this company had a $600,000 loss for the year, and you convinced them to give you $100,000 to fix the fact that they lost $600,000.
Yeah, so it's 21,000 per year for the cleanup.
And that was 4 years, right?
Actually, 2 years.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, so but still not bad, of course.
No, nothing
Yeah.
frown upon at all.
Yeah, nothing.
So,
Yeah.
so like it's so many lessons in what you just showed. Number one, just because a company isn't doing bad financially,
Mhm.
just because they're maybe doing bad financially, they may not necessarily be cash poor, and they also may be willing to pay to turn it around.
Right.
So that's not one, because I know a lot of us will be, well, they lost $500,000 last year, and I would normally charge 21, but these
Yeah.
poor people. But I'm glad you didn't do that, and I'm glad you knew your worth and
Yeah.
you charged your worth, and most of all, you communicated your worth, and they were able to see it. And now you got the one partner going to go sell it to the other partner. So good job, good job.
Yeah, thank you.